Welkom terug. Welcome back. I greet you. I welcome us upon you. Episode 4. Episode 4 of the podcast with me, Gatti Duisendspliff. Tonight, we have cannabis activist, mother cannabis, mom cannabis, everything, but also the lovely lady, Miss Quanita Booley. That Connie, how are you doing?
So thank you very much for having me here today.
Oh,
Gatti, I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you for being
In
here.
the office of Gatti Duisendspliff. Love it.
Welcome. Look, let's get down to business. You're here
Awesome.
for a reason. We're here for the podcast.
Yes.
People want to know, how did you get into the cannabis industry? We spoke about this in the past, but tell me, how did you get into the cannabis industry? How do you find yourself?
Into the industry, actually through the medicinal element of cannabis, which is with my diagnosis of depression. So it was much aligned with mental health and the acknowledgement of what I was going through and trying to find like what was it that could help me other than the things that they were giving me. So I went into like research mode and I was like, why can't I find any information? Why can't I access like Leafly? I was like, there's this international stuff, but like, where's the access points? Like, why is this not a thing? The medical professionals that I had access to were not interested in
Risking.
Yeah, she literally told me, the psychiatrist was like, I'm not too sure because of legalities. And I'm like, you're withholding information from me that is going to benefit my health. I came to you saying this. I've seen all of the information online. Like,
I'm an adult. I'm conscious.
Yeah,
I can do the research myself.
And then by chance in my searches, I stumbled across the protests that were being organized, the organizing group Bangalong at the time. And they literally said, okay, cool, you can come on board and help me. And that was my entrance into the activism space, which in turn is into the industry because so it's been a journey. That was in 2016 when I started acknowledging what
the benefits
of it were on all spectrums. So from the industrial parts of cannabis and its industry to the medicinal, because I was researching how can I actually help myself. And acquired a lot of knowledge in terms of, how little our group, our society understand, because it was the information was taken out of our medical journals like 100 years ago. So we have like a huge gap of information about a very important system, in our bodies in terms of defense to the elements in the world. We're facing a terrible time, and so slowly this information is being put back into text. It's being gazetted, if you will.
Recorded and made available to the public.
Exactly. This is a platform where we make content to share information, right? So people are acknowledging that you are a pioneer in this space because this is happening. Right? There's not many like this available, so when people come online, this is the kind of content they'll have access to. So that's dope, and that I encourage that, and I always support it, and I feel like it's a valid space in the industry, because understanding culture is only a story that can be told by the culture.
100%.
So that was my journey in.
And I don't know if you submersed yourself in this culture, like even in the legal side, because I remember you were one of the speakers at the cannabis march, not speaker, or you were on the podium. I'm not sure if it was that what you call it.
So in 2019, I convened the protest.
Okay. So just
that was my involvement. My start in 2016, and then 2017 also I was working with them in the
is this Bangalore or is this Fields
team.
of Green? Or?
No, Bangalore.
Okay.
And then 2018 was when the judgment was heard.
Okay.
So we acquired our right to privacy. to consume and cultivate in private.
Okay, I want to touch on that a little bit because that's exactly, if you look back at a few another episode, me and Havok, we actually mention you because this is where we need to actually touch on. But anyway, you were saying, yeah, so
Oh, wait.
2018 is it?
2018.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, I was lead convener for the Global Cannabis March.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so just that basically you led me into the next question is, in terms of the legal front, where are we at this? Where's our footing? Like, are we at a point where we can legally consume alcohol as adults, consenting adults, or is it still a touch and go? Because I remember prior to 2018 there was like, even the growing side of things, like when I used to dabble in the growing side of things, it was always, can you grow, can't you grow? There was never a definitive answer, and I feel like even me as like a connoisseur or cannabis enthusiast, there's no, I don't even like, I honestly don't know that stance or that sort of the government or where they taking from it. What's your take on it?
You know, for me, that's like I don't know, like, okay, so I identified very early on that there's a disconnect between the language the government offer and what the people understand. Like, people say to me, yes, cannabis is legal. No, bruh, it's not legal. It's decriminalized. So I was having this discussion earlier on where I said, like, you know how quickly cannabis can become illegal is when there's a non-consenting adult next to you. That's how quickly it can become illegal.
So having a son or daughter in the car with you
is illegal in the law's eyes.
So anybody under the age of 18
cannot consume
as alcohol. So okay, look, I'm not even going to how unfair that is. We're not here to debate that.
Yeah.
So you explaining. So it's not legal, but it is legal.
It's not legal to trade.
Okay, so you're not selling weed. That's 100%. That's out the window. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can give you ganja. I can give you ganja as my friend. Be like, hey, ganja. Sure. The police won't be like, hey, what the fuck?
No.
Is that chill?
Yeah, that's fine. It's a gift. You can gift somebody cannabis.
Okay, and then let's go a step further. So growing, in terms of growing, like as an adult, because now you mentioned this, the I don't know, this might fucking be like a gray area, I don't know, but like you mentioned having a consenting, you have to be a consenting adult. So you're growing cannabis in your house, in your personal space. You have children.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
So yeah, that law is to adults in the home, and this is my thing with like and being a mother. Obviously, I've literally experienced a whole cannabis pregnancy that I'm very open about and very proudly open about, because my daughter is, I can today sit here and say, very, very healthy, and you know, everything that's supposed to be there is there, and she's a well-functioning little girl, you know, even advanced for her age. And so I'm like this, there's not this like idea of cannabis has its subsections of socialism. There's just this idea that cannabis is this and we're blocking that. Like, we're not talking about the fact that little kids may also need to consume cannabis, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Charlotte's Web is a perfect example. Obviously a high CBD strain, but yes, THC does have its benefits, and we can't look the other way about that the whole time. Like, there are its benefits. Yeah. The argument on the other end, though, which science kind of looks at, is that the brain doesn't develop as well as it should if under 21.
So if you consume, basically adding THC to the brain before certain age sort of hinders the growth.
There's hindrance of growth in some aspect of, and I'm saying, you know what, a better quality of life rather. I think it's to do with your IQ. I think it's something to do with your IQ. The dependency of your IQ or whatever, if you smoke before 21, I don't know. I'm just out here saying, you know what, it's a medicine. I've consumed cannabis with my pregnancy. My baby's completely healthy. She was not affected by it at all. It was a very positive experience compared to my first pregnancy, and that's the beauty of my story. I say I have a Panado baby and I have a cannabis baby. I was freak depressed in this pregnancy, but I used cannabis because I couldn't use other things like what they wanted to give. Yeah,
Only like Bernardo was like the
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that helped me. Not only physically, like I didn't have water retention. I didn't like my pregnancy wasn't heavy. My back wasn't like sore. I didn't. Yeah,
Like
like,
nausea and all that.
nausea wasn't a thing for me at all. It was a positive
I can imagine because
experience.
you're eating and like.
Oh wait,
Like, you know what I mean?
exactly. I was normal. I was fine, and I had baby.
And were you open? Were you like telling your parents? Were you like preaching the gospel, so to say, in this time?
Yes.
And what was the reaction? What was your
I
like
was actually,
the stigma?
I was actually planning the protest for 2018 with the Bangalong team, and I was dead pregnant. I was like 8 months pregnant.
Your mama the maga.
Yeah, literally. And yeah, it was an experience because people like really judged me. They really judged me in the space. And I was just like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. Luckily, I had help from a lady named Ziona, who at the time was a clinical technologist. She's now a doctor. And she guided me through my pregnancy in terms of dosage. Like, obviously, there's a certain caution you have to take. Like, you can't just fucking go racking bongs and shit.
Yeah.
You know, you have to watch your THC intake, right? But to listen to how I'm talking and listen to the lack of interest that medical sphere is choosing to look at it because of law, what law is cutting. Incorporating the knowledge, make sure it's a safe process. So you must have access to certain dosages of cannabis at certain times. But funny story, and I always tell this. One day I ate an edible. I was like 7 months pregnant. I ate an edible, and I was like high, like almost like astroplaning high. And I was freaked out because I'm like, you know, that's the thing you can't control. Like, I was like, I need something CBD. I knew I could. I wasn't gonna die. But I was like, shit, baby. Like, you know, like
need balance.
Exactly. So I phoned and I'm like, what? She's like, no, but just drink a glass of orange juice, you know, and then lots of water, and then just lie down because nothing will get passed through the umbilical cord that baby doesn't need. So baby's always safe. Baby's not going to be fed like shitloads of THC because there's a certain amount of capacity that gets acknowledged. So there's a great science behind it, and I was lucky enough to experience that because I had that kind of resource. So obviously that motivates the activism because my bro, really, if I have access to this and I know that this is a solution, why don't other people also have this kind of thing, you know? And that took me into my journey of activism, which stems into many, many different parts of cannabis, industrial, pharmaceutical, social aspects. And there's the big event spaces that survive here because there's a great culture. And I think the culture is really starting to be celebrated, especially now with the relaxing of the laws, the acceptance of government and our trading spaces. Because that's what they're on to next.
In terms of the clubs and things like that, the club level.
Yes.
I had a chat with Havoc about that. The club level, like, I remember like back in the day, there was a club you used to work at. I don't know if you mentioned like.
Betty.
Yeah. It was like way back in the day, and that club model sort of followed through with a lot of different clubs, but these different. The whole. You know, the way that they did it with the credit system.
And it's really evolved. Exactly. So that's, for me, that was important for me in my journey there in the cannabis club space. I was like, for the first time in my life, I am observing a formal sale through technology and the gray area to have something survive in an economy. For me, that was revolutionary. Like that was the beauty of me acknowledging early on, my bro, I wanna watch what's gonna happen here until it extends till fucking 2030.
Yeah, when it's actually like
it's like watching a movie over years and like seeing the scenes of each law play out, what the effects are. It always goes out. Government misses public participation.
And
so
I was gonna
there's-
say something like we do have like a blueprint that you look at, like California. Now. I always look at their model that they're working on now. It's not always like a good thing. Like so, it is it's a good and a bad thing in terms of having government involved. But like you say, they sometimes sit the fuck miss, and it becomes a shit show because they're not ground level. They're not listening to the ground level.
Yes, so that's why you have to have advisors. And they
Actually, no, sorry too. There was like this council. I don't know if you know, like when about like the like giving the licensing thing. Was that? Did you know about?
the CDCSA.
Yeah. Was that so? Is that like the?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's
No, that's not them. But just a bit of history on them for those that are interested in learning how the community was sort of bridging to get involved into policy change. That happened in 2017. A lady by the name of Tandeka was involved, and there was quite a bit of like controversy around her place in the community, but that's a thing of the past. I mean, and that's what I saw. I was like a youth, and I was a person of color, and I came into this space and I'm like, activism. There's no young people, there's no people of color. Like, what the fuck? And that's when I was like, okay, cool, I understand what you're saying. So I'm gonna take what you're saying and I'm gonna turn it into our jargon, and that's how that my online videos kind of just started.
And that can Connie and all that.
Speak the language of the people. That was my vibe. I need to tell this man, sir, what they're saying in their language.
Because we just hearing the
God say hi and bless my clipped tongue.
And that's why we don't know what's
exactly
happening.
yeah.
That's why we having this conversation, because it's not. The information is free, it's open, it's there, but
it's hard to understand.
To decipher, it's like
it's
like do they want
but
us?
that's okay. So it all comes back to the government didn't consider public participation at all. They're trying to now slowly trying to integrate certain things here and there, and there's great development from the communities in. And what I do want to identify is the strong difference between the community and the industry. And that's something people need to understand. The community is the base, the black market, that's us. The people that survive, the rebels, the stoners, the labeled ones, Now all of a sudden there's a great industry around this, and we like
websites selling stuff.
Like everything is just
it was paraphernalia.
So official. Yeah, exactly. Oh wait.
It used to be called paraphernalia. It's a scary word, no paraphernalia.
I know. Like what should I buy? What am I buying?
That's a lolly. I'm buying a lolly. It's paraphernalia.
Yeah.
I don't even do paraffin. I don't know.
Got mad, and so. Yeah, so I mean, it was very interesting to like see how the media got that so wrong. In terms of industry and community.
Because I just saw government selling our land, and I just see this. The rich is always this in my head. Like, look, I don't want to I'm never going to be political, but like the rich always say rich, and that's you needed to have your foot in the door and have a couple of acres or something before. And I feel like that's how it is in California. You have to jump through so much hoops that you need to have money to just get into the industry. So all the billions and the trillions that they're talking about, this green rush that they're talking about, it's going to only be like touched by like a few people. It's going to be like those.
Yeah. It's only made accessible to those few people.
And it's like, because like, bro, I know, dude, like, you can like.
We are lucky. I will say this. In South Africa, we are very lucky to have our government even acknowledge the benefits of it, right? There are other countries where it's like completely just shunned upon, and people are really, really struggling. And in arc ages, with regards to the acknowledgement of the benefits around it. So we have that. We have a beautiful, diverse country that has slowly started to acknowledge the benefits of this industry and this
Comes
space.
back to our constitution, bro. Like we have a just constitution.
Yes,
At the end of the day, it's like,
we have one of the best constitutions
dude,
in
like-
the world.
and that's just look. Yeah, but like, oh fuck, you were saying something. Yes, and so because like you like it's becoming less of a stigma also, you know, because like this cannabis, like you walk through Spa, you walk through
This
fucking
yeah.
what's not Spa, what even Spa, but like clicks or something, bro. Like there's a whole aisle dedicated to CBD cannabis.
Yeah.
You all, like when would you ever see a leaf in clicks, dog? A
Do you
ganja leaf in clicks.
Do you know how happy it makes me? I literally had to like a little bit of a
Oh,
dance, and
yeah.
I'm like, that's my plan.
I was like, mommy, no, just you need anything? I was like, you see the clicks?
I am the advisor. Me,
Clicks.
I am the advisor. I can help you. Yeah, but
yeah.
so that's the thing, man. In 2016, I never imagined walking into a shop and seeing that.
A cannabis
Do
clinic.
you know how happy my heart was when that happened in 2018? I remember all these businesses starting to pop up and they were actually using the leaf. Not only that, they were actually starting to register their names on Cipro as cannabis, something cannabis. Always cannabis, weed, dacha, fucking put it into that system, bro. Like all of, like, you know, and that was a beauty. I used to sit and I used to type in just the word weed and see how many new businesses pop up. Literally, I used to observe
deep
how many
little-
new businesses developed over that time. And it was rapid growth. People were really starting to embrace the culture. And yeah, man, fucking beautiful. I am blessed to have observed that space and to have taken note of it in a time when it needed to be taken note
Just to
of.
sort of backtrack a bit, back to like the club, the cannabis club space.
Oh yeah.
Is there space? Is it you like this is my thing, and I'm gonna ask everybody that's in the same, you know, anybody considers them enthusiast. Is there? What's the trajectory, bro? Where are we going with this? Is it gonna be like Amsterdam? Is it gonna be? Because we see a lot of them popping up now, but is it gonna always be like they have to walk in and walk out and be scared, or like, you know what I mean? Is it ever gonna be like?
So I think just logically speaking that the we've already set up shop. There's a lot of club spaces around, and it's all working on the Barcelona that mimics Barcelona.
Yes, the
Okay,
Spain,
yes,
yeah,
right.
the,
And that is because
explain that to the people, please, just a little
okay,
bit.
so the Barcelona model is basically the club space. You're not allowed to trade, so they also have a similar constitution to ours. And so in order to acquire cannabis, you need to barter points of some kind, whatever the, you know,
Yeah.
aesthetic of the club is. But there's this exchange of, you know, points versus
So it's not actually
money,
hard, yeah.
right? So that clears the gray area. Technically, nobody can say, right? Also, you are on a private membership. And what does our law say?
I'm not sure. Explain to the people.
How
I
low?
smoke weed.
Yeah, you
weed.
just smoke that shit.
Yeah.
No, so our law says that you have the right to consume in private and cultivate in private. Now the club space is going, hey, I have a private space.
Pull through.
Away.
I hear you. Okay.
The synergy happens, and so
Yeah.
the people come to these safe legal spaces where they are protected within, you know, as you come in, you sign a little waiver.
Yeah,
Right, that's
okay.
protecting you
That is
and your
just-
rights
okay, so-
in the space.
So we are heading in the. That's like the first time I actually got
So to
sort
answer
of
your
a-
question,
yeah, okay.
sorry, to answer your question, that's the current system.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we will like move way past that in any way. I think once you create a culture around, you know, cannabis clubs, it's surviving in Barcelona. Like, you know, we've already created it here. That will be the tone, I think.
Yeah.
There's one club I love, Alibi, in town.
Okay.
Also a private club. If you have the honor of being passed a referral,
Yeah.
please make your way there. Like, that's a really, really dope concept and really futuristic thinking in terms of a private club setting. It's literally like a boardroom inside there. Yeah.
So you can have
No,
like
it's a
meetings.
working space. You go have your formal meetings.
Bro,
You go have your meetings.
bro,
there.
that is what we need, because it's not a joke, bro. people smoke weed and do shit. Like I know people that do some crazy shit and smoke weed. You know what I mean? It's not anymore like a, you know, the typical lumming on the sofa. What
it's become
the
a
sofa,
part
what
of
the fuck, the couch.
productivity. It's become a like today. I have the honor of being in an office space where this is a part of our culture. So when I get to work, I'm like, yo, bro, like, where's the joint? Like, where's the morning joint?
Yeah.
You know, imagine like, and I wished for that, like pre 2016. I wished for that, and I was like, wow, like that's it. And now I'm living it.
Coffee
right?
in a blunt.
Exactly. That's literally how the morning
Clocking.
starts. Exactly. That's beautiful.
It's
Because
amazing.
society is acknowledging this new space, this new acceptance. There's something that actually induces productivity. So why not incorporate it into our space? You know.
Induces and reduces anxiety. So much things that you
Exactly.
try to get people in to do, like, you know what I mean? Just,
Exactly. You reduce anxiety. If you reduce anxiety, you get a more productive human being.
that's just is we stress. We don't deal well with stress. That's just like how stress women go. We just don't think clear shit like that. What's I gonna say? Oh yeah, favorite strain. Tell me. You told me sort of, but like
Okay.
it doesn't have to be like. It's just
Yeah. Okay. So
something
my okay. So just because it's so scarce these days, but it really always was my and really a tool in my healing journey, because that was the strain I started. That's the only strain I had access to when I was like, shit, I need to smoke a hybrid. And at the time that was available to me, and that was a great hybrid. So it really, Casa would help balance every element of the anxiety in my morning to the productivity. I'd go to work, I'd have 2 scaves of cars in the morning.
So cars, so it's cars.
Yeah, that was my saving grace. Cars was my saving grace. That's my honor towards society, and that's my one. But my favorite is Jack Herrera.
Check here.
Herrera, yeah.
Or,
Herrera, I said Herrera.
but like
Herrera!
I probably smoked the cars. That is Cape Town, bro. Cars is Cape Town.
That's home, yeah.
Cars is like, bro, like you're the second person to say that. I won't talk to you. Like the second person that I asked that question is like cars.
Yeah.
So like shout out to this growers, bro.
Yes,
grower cars. Bro, that light green, I'm still saying that light green look like it's fucking genetically modified, bro. Like I know exactly what you're
I
talking about.
fond memories of like observing that cast for the first time. Really, that was very, very
That's the
special.
okay. So that and then Jack Heroes. Not that that's so. That's like
it's a tasty strain. I think I like the high that comes from it.
what is it? It's like a sativa.
No, it's also a good balance. It's hybrid.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it depends on the grower.
Shit's honestly like it's difficult to say what's what at this stage. It's more like
Everything
you
is
can
cross.
say you
Everything
can say
is cross. But I will tell you that in 2017 I had my first experience with it, and that is what I can say is my favorite. Right, because that's what I remember it. That is was my experience with it. I don't know what it is now. Like everybody's crossbreeding. You're growing in your garden. You're growing in your garden. So like, what are
do you think the market's
smoking?
saturated? Is it easy? No, do you think?
I don't think it's saturated. I think, remember, we're at the starting point only. It's how we organize ourselves. That's the trick. We need to be able to. We must create we don't fit technically in government's eyes. We don't fit into the supply chain.
Okay.
They know that we are customers.
Okay.
They know that they need us to make their supply chain move because we are the consumers. And what I've been trying to lobby for was make the community the industry. Because the community are the people that have been involved and have, put the risks forward to make sure that legislation was changed. I completely lobby civil disobedience.
Bro.
You have to do something before the government acknowledges. Yeah, if they want to do that, okay, wow, how are we going to control it? Okay, shit, now we must get involved, right? That's the only, we have a fucking hectic political system. It's just, it's a wild west. And
dude, it's that's why I say it's like, and I feel that also feeds into the word is disaccord with the actual law. It's like we don't the fuck know, and it's a scary space because, like, yes, we want to be comfortable, but it's like especially like me, like I still feel like, bro, like
Yeah.
I need to fucking look over my fucking...
I wanna address something around the understanding of the bill. And people like trying to acknowledge, hey, what can, because it's always a question that comes to me, is like, how much can I grow? Like, what's legal in my household?
That's what we want to know. Like,
But so I mean, I can go into detail with it, but it's essentially that, a proposed bill. It's not gazetted.
Okay. Yeah, what you
So
said, it's not passed. It hasn't been passed yet.
No. So there's nothing allocated to the quantity of it, bro.
Is this in our favor, or is this...
Until they change the law. So what I'm saying is, the proposed bill is standing there going, we want you to only grow 4 plants per adult in the household. If there are more than 2 people in the household, then you can only grow 8 plants, right?
Okay.
They even go so far as to measuring down how much wet and dry cannabis you can have. Like, that's fucking irrelevant. And like, just like very just investigations into like what is for us and what isn't. And my thing is this: you don't know what we're growing the cannabis for, firstly, right? You cannot assume that is enough for us, right? So there's that argument. And then the other element of it's a completely, how can you set that? How can you have an office and determine?
That's not his field of expertise.
Exactly, you're placing power
law
in the
isn't
snake's
even,
hands.
bro,
Right?
law isn't even the expertise.
And they take advantage of this, right? So quota counts, and that's where they go after they come after our mensa. And then we get the we sign admission of guilt. Do not sign admission of guilt.
That's a record on your name.
You have 72 hours to decide if you want to sign that. Do not sign it when they provide it to you in front of you. Have your legal representation or your advisor. But that's the thing, they don't care. They will. So the other day, how funny is this? The other day, an activist in Johannesburg posted a docket for arrested for possession of dagga. What?
For having weed.
Possession of that, that's not a thing anymore. And that's how uneducated our officers are, right? So I mean, it's really about just education. That's always what I've been lobbying for. My involvement started medically, but it's evolved into like,
I feel like the more knowledge and the more understanding the people have, the more like, because in a sense, like, I feel like we can educate them in a sense, like, Mr. Sir, please don't even waste your time, paperwork's not your time, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if we can have that conversation with them and come from a standpoint of like, yo bro, it's a waste of your time and my time, let's not fucking do this, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I wish it was as clear cut as that, but like, fuck, I forgot my title, but like, it's like, bro, like, fucking getting locked up for a joint, bro. Is that
it's a great injustice. It is. I mean, that's the thing. How can you get arrested for possession? That's like our constitution literally says we have the right to cultivate and consume, which means we will have it. So you cannot arrest. It's been lifted. Like, you can only arrest somebody on the
sale.
If there's something insinuating a sale.
Meaning like what? Like,
yes, with evidence, mind you. They need evidence of some kind, photographic evidence, or if you were interacting with an undercover. So still, people must be careful. We're not just out there like fucking all wild, like running around saying, yeah, I can sell weed. No, you cannot sell weed. It's completely illegal still. People are still getting arrested. You are targeted, in fact. And because it's easy, right? Quota for the police officer.
Okay. So that is a thing. Quota.
That's a thing. Come here and don't you notice?
But I've been seeing a lot of roadblocks now. Like,
No. Year end and every public holiday, you will notice more police presence because they are all looking to fulfill their quotas. Year end fucking quota is my ever end, because that's the time my inbox fills up with, Connie, what must we do? My brother got arrested now. They took his grow. They confiscated this. I'm like, what? Every fucking December. So they're out on the prowl. Like, I mean, and that's data, right? I was able to collect data over time of people over a certain time frame in the year being arrested.
So, like, Is there no more marches happening? Like, what's the buzz? Did I see a march happening? Obviously because of COVID and shit, but now it's loosening up. So is
Yeah. So like I said, I convened in 2019.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the protest is, and this is an activism, is that it's not necessarily only for one person to motor. Anybody can pick the cause up and represent, right? And so I picked the baton up and I propelled in 2019. Great, it was a success. Like I was really happy to see people of color come out in the numbers that they did. Because of my involvement, see how things evolve as demographics change. And then I did a little activation online in 2020, and then in 2021, COVID obviously. This year, I saw it was picked up by another activist, but I didn't see much interaction in terms of like public.
There was an online one, I know. There was a.
No, that was a one in COVID, as we were experiencing COVID.
Okay. So is that the one you're talking about? No, that was.
That was like my last involvement in activation.
So is there something that's happening that you see that?
Look,
because there was a vibe. It was a point in the community where you could see like this is someone that's like me. You know what I mean? Like people that do the same thing as me. You know what I mean? Like in the same space. You know, in the same time, just facing government. So. Middle finger. That was dazzle, like looking through towns for other places you couldn't smoke.
Why? Because the people felt like they were not included, and there was a platform to say, my bro, you can come here, man, you can come be you here, and we will accept you, and you can be outside, and you can be proud about it.
And you can smoke in the room, and you can smoke in town. That was the best thing. Walking through gardens legally. Love, bro. I love, bro.
Yeah, I do acknowledge the importance of that space, and I don't have the capacity myself to convene another one. I'm involved in a lot of different projects now that I really have to focus on. Not that I don't have love towards it, but my journey of activism has moved to the next step. But there is somebody that will convene. I will come out with a little bit of, but that will only probably happen either later in the year or next year. But I am in the planning process of getting involved.
Please, because I say as a culture we need it, bro. We need to get back. Like obviously COVID and shit, that's granted, but we need to get like our foot back, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Because there's like I've been to a few events like for like 420 friendly events, and it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. Obviously, it's a lot of people because of COVID staying away. But regardless, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
it's a vibe, man, and that's the thing. Like, when you can start reading a body of people, and you can start reading what they want, you can create a space for exactly them, right? So somebody was saying to me earlier on, like, like your events always get pulled. Yes, bruh, because you must know who you're fucking planning stuff for. Like, what is the intent of this? And so in turn, as an activist, you have to listen to the community. You have to listen to what they want. I may not agree with it personally, but this is not my message. I am but a vessel.
Exactly, you're the link between them and the higher ups.
I am just passing it. I'm like, telephone vibes. So yeah, there's a lot still to be done. We are not in the clear. There's a lot of confusion still out about the legalities. But I do promote civil disobedience. Just hide your shit behind CBD. Our government doesn't have money to test, so they arrest you. You just say, bro, test my stuff. They can't test your stuff. They can't test your stuff. They can't prove that it's illegal.
And they can't keep you until they test it.
They will sit with you for bail, but you can only pay bail if you sign an admission of guilt. So you're not going to sign the admission of guilt, because admission of guilt is 10 years of your freedom lost.
Admission so you basically get a criminal record.
Admission of guilt is your criminal record. That is you saying, I acknowledge that this is illegal.
And you pay like $100 or what was it?
They will let you pay 2,000 rand, they will let you pay 5, whatever you have on you, whatever they can gauge your social class status is. And that's the thing, man. Like that's what makes me angry.
Fucked up, man.
It really is. And it's tiring to have to explain to people all the time the same thing. Like, why can't we just have proper education channels for these things? Government, can we start that process?
Bro, educate the people, bro. Like really, like I feel like they're preaching this revolution and blah blah blah. But there's no There's no empowerment. You know what I mean?
So that's what we must do as a
100%.
community.
100%.
We must sit in these spaces and go, okay, cool. I can see how I can help our people in this way by talking, by creating events, by doing podcasts and spreading information, right? So what I'm saying is getting to so many more people that you know.
Yeah.
So now you must go
you
must go and do that wherever you can.
100%.
That's your responsibility, right?
100%.
That's how you cannot be selfish in this space.
Like paying it forward kind of
You cannot be selfish in the cannabis space at all. You will not benefit if you come into the cannabis community selfish. And that's the sad thing, because there's a lot of greed. There's a lot of money in the space also. And we get blinded. We get blinded by our egos. We get blinded by opportunities that are like faux and empty promises. And a lot of our people are struggling. Like, we've been through the fucking, ratchet end of this.
Trenches.
Yeah.
Trenches, man. We've been in the trenches.
We've been in the trenches,
locked
man.
up for joints and shit. Real talk. Real talk.
Cup sad, but also beautiful to see how much we've progressed.
Fucked up.
So,
Muru, for the people listening, just in closing, like, if there's anything that they can fucking take away from this, like, this chat that we had, what would it be like? What would you say? This is put a pencil in the put this in your diary and remember this. Like,
yes.
What would you say, if you can remember?
Yes,
No?
I would say that in the cannabis space there is an opportunity for everyone. You don't go chasing what cannabis can do for you. You go after what you can do with cannabis, right? So what is your skill? Where do you set in? For instance, I always say my background is beauty, right? And so for me, an income stream would be something like creams. Something I specialize in something, so I incorporated maybe bringing cannabis in so you kind of attach yourself to the industry in that way. Because everybody's like, how must I do this? What must I do? What are the possibilities?
You bake? Think about how you can...
That's not for me to decide, and that's not for the government to decide.
Yeah.
That's for see where the community comes in?
Yeah.
The professionals, the ones that have been doing this for a long time.
That's the thing.
Those are the businesses that must get developed.
Get like HR for like cannabis, like a recruitment agency for the cannabis industry.
People get creative. People get very creative, and it's a very exciting sphere to see how all the
developments.
Yeah, the developments. So just wherever you find yourself, place yourself. Bring your expertise, create the supply chain, attach yourself to the supply chain, create jobs, and let's prove that this is a self-sustaining, legislation will set itself in, and when it does, we'll come and we'll review and we'll unpack what it actually means for us. Never jump into an opportunity without acknowledgement or full scope of what it means. Don't drop monies in spaces that you are unfamiliar with. Make sure that you do your research.
Yeah.
And I mean, if anything, contact me. I try and humble myself to answering whatever questions. I am on Facebook as Quanita Booley, on Instagram as Connie. Link, ask me, whatever it is, and I will try my level best to help where I can. I believe that spreading the information and the knowledge is more important than monetizing off it, because that's what we need to make it grow.
Foundation stages.
So I'm open to that, and I'm excited to see how the spaces are growing, and really excited to have come on your show today. This is legendary. So, cheers.
Thank you. That's it. That's episode 4, ladies and gentlemen. As always, subscribe if you like. Share this shit. Connie Booley, thank you for coming on, educating the people. Anything.
Thank you
like
for
she said, if there's any other question I didn't ask me, feel you want to ask her, hit her up. Drop a message at the bottom of the video and how this works. You just yet, but you know what it is. Stay tuned, man. You got shit coming.